Nobody is going to hit as hard as life, but it ain't how hard you can hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. It's how much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. My guest on this episode of Passing the Torch is an actor and Marine veteran who served with distinction during Operation Iraqi Freedom 2. But his greatest battles weren't just overseas. After returning home, he endured over a year of homelessness in Southern California. Instead of breaking him, it forged him into a man he is today, a fighter whose story resonates with millions. His survival, perseverance, and willpower became the foundation of his artistry. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome former Gwinnett County firefighter, actor, and the best portrayal of the cowardly lion you will ever see, former member of the Tempo Slow, decorated U.S. Marine veteran, and proof that discipline makes dreams real. Passing the Torch with Maurice P. Kerry starts now. First and foremost, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for joining me.
Yo, no, thank you. That is by far the absolute best intro I've ever gotten in my life. You went all the way back to when I was 17 years old as the cowardly lion. Are you kidding me?
The pride of Douglas High. The pride of Douglas High.
Dude, like, come on, man. You definitely got to be a spy. Y'all watch this dude. He's definitely AI over here. Tempo Slow. I won a talent show with Tempo Slow as an R&B singer. I used to be an R&B singer.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. Would you say with my intro, did I bring the Southern noise? Am I saying that right?
Oh, and I used to be a rapper in a group named Southern Noise. Wow. Yo, everything you just said, I was sitting there thinking like, I want to see this movie. Like whatever movie this is, I want to see that movie.
And we're going to get into some other stuff and some other nuggets about you. You want to see the movie? I guarantee you the movie will bring your milkshake will bring all the boys to the yard. So we'll
you did homework.
We'll get to all that.
You did homework. Wow. This is dope. I'm already loving this.
Thanks for that, man. I put a lot of time and research into just finding out your backstory and listen to you on quite a few podcasts. So it's just a lot of cool things to pull from.
I see. Wow, that is crazy work. You went way back to my very first rap verse. Like that's crazy. And we'll talk about it. That was crazy.
Yeah. So on that note, why is life great right now?
Well, everything is good. I'm loving my life as a full-time single father. I have time to spend with my daughter. I'm doing what I want to do as far as acting with Beyond the Gates. I'm a part of a historical television show.
Yeah.
I'm officially a working actor, steady paycheck. I have insurance now. it's like the little things in life. So
yeah,
everything is good. Like I'm staying in the gym, staying healthy. I can't complain.
You look good, man, because we're the same age. And I was like, man, I know how old you are, but you look much younger. Okay. And I saw on one of your actor profiles, like the age range that you can play. And it
was like 29 to
yeah, actually it was 27. What I saw, like 27 to 40. And I thought that was pretty cool, man. And I know you're a couple years older than 40, but you look young, man. So everything you're doing is working out.
Yeah, I might want to update that. I don't think I can pull off 20s anymore. I'm sure
you could do 29. You could do 29, right?
Yeah, maybe if I shave. Maybe.
If you shave, right? Yeah, you could do 29. We'll have some good lighting.
Good lighting, some great makeup.
Yeah, great makeup. You need to get the makeup person from Chad Powers. I don't know if you've seen that show on Hulu.
Yeah, or CGI from Marvel or something.
Yeah. One of the things I've read about you, and when I say I've researched about you, I've listened to you on podcasts, I've met you in person. Again, we had that great conversation in Atlanta, man, and I really appreciate that. That meant a lot to me. And I was like, man, does he have me confused with someone else? Right after that's what I was thinking, man. But one of the things I came across, and I did look at your IMDb profile, but there was something it was either on Instagram or somewhere else, but you talked about nutric masculinity. What do you mean by that? I've never heard that phrase before.
Yeah, most people haven't, but you know what they have heard? The opposite thereof. is toxic. So toxic saps nutrients. Nutric is nutrients. It's the root of nutrients. So what is the opposite of toxic masculinity? Nutric masculinity. It's what masculinity should be. It feeds you. It builds you. It makes you better. It makes you stronger. So when I say nutric masculinity, I'm saying everything opposite of what people are saying toxic is.
Now, and I love that, and especially to me, vulnerability equals strength. And as I mentioned, I think already a couple of times, I've listened to you on multiple podcasts,
Mm-hmm.
and you have no problem just sharing difficult parts of your life. And one of the stories that stood out to me was your time in the Marines, where as a welder,
Mm-hmm.
um, and this is, you know, I mean, any time in the Middle East was tough, but I think there was a certain period, probably between 2006, maybe 2011, or when were you in the Middle East?
I did from 2000 and I'm sorry, my fan. It was 2000 February. We left. That's right. We left Valentine's Day 2004, and we came back that September, late September.
Either so, I mean, again, that was the initial kickoff pretty early on. So, I mean, that was definitely
Mm-hmm.
a very tough time.
Right.
But do you mind just talking about your time as a welder and any anxiety that you had that stemmed from convoys?
Yeah. And so, what I like to explain to people, I was sorry turning the fan down. It was screaming at me on my computer. Um, what I talk to people about a lot is they talk about war, they talk about battles and combats, and I was never personally, I was never in any major firefights. We had some skirmishers, some pop offs, mortar fire, but that I wasn't afraid of that. You know what I mean? That didn't those I didn't mind. I'm okay if you got your AK and I got my M4 my 16 and we're here, we're there. I'm okay with that because to me, and this is the way my mind thinks, and I think it comes from being a child of the 80s, mano y mano. You, me, who's ever better on that day. That's why I love boxing over all the other sports. Who's
Yeah,
ever better on that day? To me, that's fair. That's balanced. What is unfair, and granted, it's war, so there is no fair in war. But I find it to be cowardice is the anxiety given by IEDs, improvised explosive devices. So I was the only welder for a number of miles. I don't know, it was like 30, 40 miles. I was the only welder, probably longer than that. And so I had to weld for the Army, the Navy, the Marines, and the Air Force. Everybody who needed welding for something built solo, me, uno.
yeah,
I had to go to different bases, different areas, different provinces, and provinces, and I had to build or break down or repair whatever they needed. That forced me to convoy. Now, eventually, they got smart, and later in, they sat me and they moved what they could to me. They got smart, but that was
yeah,
way later. That was after the fact. And it was so many times that I was in a convoy, and it's the never knowing. It's the fear of never knowing. It's the fear of could this be my day? Is it the fear? It's the fear of anybody could be out in the middle of the desert, just like this. Boom.
yeah,
And the anxiety and the fear and the worry of is this my day? And you don't know. And see, there's a number of vehicles in the convoy, so you don't know if they're gonna hit the front. You don't know if they're gonna hit the back. You don't know if they're gonna hit the middle. You don't know. Or and this is even more cowardice, but also ingenious. There's a genius in the cowardice. They were so smart that they would set up mortar fires, or they would set up triggers and mortar fires to like basically it would happen, and then we would go out and investigate, and we would just find the weapon and a puddle of water, and it just kept happening and kept happening and kept happening. We kept trying to figure out why is there wetness right here, and eventually it clicked. These bastards, they're setting ice blocks in a way to where it just, by the time the ice melts, they're long gone. They're gone. And I'm like, that's coward, but it's genius.
Yeah.
You know? And so it was that type of thing. The convoys, like I said, it brought the anxiety of maybe today is my day, maybe it's not. But again, firefights, rifle against rifle, I'm all for it. Let's go.
Yeah. What I like about your story as a welder, because we don't think about that, where like you had an impact. I mean, did anyone ever tell you like, hey, thanks? Because I
Yeah,
guess what's your thoughts on invisible impact? Because you were doing stuff, you were the sole person, but you were welding stuff for armored vehicles and convoys, right?
I had a Marine come to me. This was probably late last year, maybe early this year, and this is obviously 20 years later, 20, maybe 21 years later. And I had to go through my DMs and find it, but he literally said to me, he said, "Man, you saved our lives." Because I was the one who, now granted, it didn't always stay because the joints were aluminum, but I was the one building the up armor, putting the up armor on the Humvees, putting the up armor on the 5 tons. I built turrets, machine gun turrets from I won't necessarily say from scratch, but they gave me all the machined parts already, and I'm the one building the machine gun turrets to put in the back of the Humvees. And I had a Marine come to me, like I said in my DM. I had to go through and find it, but he literally said, "Hey man, like just thank you, dude. Like you like me, yeah, you saved our lives." And I'm like, yo, like you came back 20 years and told me that, like, thanks, man. Like I never, I think I started to tear up when he said that too. When he said it, I was like, yo, I didn't think of it because I'm story. Bob Roberts died May 17th, 2004. I remember that day exactly because on May 16th, 2004, I had a birthday. I will never forget May 17th, 2004. My birthday is May 16th. Bob was on the back. He's a Marine. I think he was a Lance Corporal at the time. Lance Corporal Bob Roberts. We call him Bob Bob. They were. Um, I don't want to contradict the story that they told the family. I don't want to, you know. But he was on the back of a Humvee, and he was manning a turret, a machine gun turret that I built. And while manning that turret, he died. The how is not. We don't need to go into the how, but he was killed while manning a turret that I built, and I know deep down, I know rationally speaking, it is not my fault. I know it is not my fault. But something here, I still carry that. Like, damn it, if I hadn't have built that fucking turret, if I hadn't have built that, he would still be here. And even still, up here, I know that's not true. Still, I carry that. So for a Marine to come back and combat what I carry, that shame or that pain that I carry for Bob, and say that you saved our lives, I needed that. And I will
Yeah.
always need that.
Man, that is, thank you for sharing that story. I think I've heard you mention his name before, but I'm not sure how many times you've shared that story.
Look him up, Google him, say his name, however you want to do it. Bob
Yeah.
Roberts, United States Marine Corps, May 17th, 2004.
Man, thank you so much, Maurice. That takes a lot of courage, man. Thank you so much for that. Um, I have a couple more serious questions, and then I have some fun, light stuff at the end. Do you mind if I ask a couple more serious
Oh yeah,
questions?
yeah. Listen, and I'm gonna say this. You talked about me being open and things like that. I don't because I'm a war veteran. I don't carry the same fear of people judging me. We can talk about whatever. If it's something that I choose that I don't want to talk about, I ain't gonna talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So just ask me what you're gonna ask me. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't carry the same fear. I was shot at and bombed. So my level of fear is way different from other people's. You get what I'm saying? Like my bar
Yeah.
is death. That is my bar. Am I gonna die? No. Let's go.
And I mean, and you were a Marine too. Like I just retired from the Air Force on November 1st. So
Congratulations.
I appreciate that, bro. But for me, like Air Force people are a lot nicer to me, I'm sure, than like your drill sergeants were probably a lot. There's nothing people could say to you that now that like, dude, I went to Marine Basic Train Boot Camp, man. Like, there's nothing that you could say to me that'll hurt my feelings.
Right, exactly. Like, come on. There is this Marine female, this black Marine female. I just saw her on Instagram. I am in love with her. She is like the dopest. I have to find the link and send it to you. But the way she says, the way she does her frog voice, and she tells them to run, and I'll have to find that. It's like Michigan recruiters or Michigan Marines or something. But she has these braids, and she's got so much swag. I'm like, I wish she was my DI because she's dope. She's
That's So I'll make sure when I post this episode, I'll try to find her and I'll try to tag in the show
I'll
notes and
make sure to
stuff.
have the
And
link because I talk everybody who sees it. The way she says like run. It's dope. I don't care.
that's cool. No, I love that. I've also heard you say that you're not afraid to look in mirrors for accountability. What helped you overcome the fear of looking in the mirror, literally or metaphorically, and start being honest with yourself about the habits, choices, or patterns you need to change?
Well, it honestly it comes from a thirst for knowledge, and the desire to be better. So I've had that in me, all my life, but it really started to manifest honestly in 2004 when I started rapping. I was still in the Marine Corps, but I started rapping when I was in Iraq. When I was in Iraq, and my first verse rapping was to Khalees's Milkshake. So that's
I was
people
going to bring
start.
that up. I was going to bring that up.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 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 yeah. So my first, when I decided to rap, and I still remember the verse. So when I started to rap, I wrote to "Milkshake" by Khalees, and the way that connects is the fact that I was able to go back, as a rapper, as a musician with my group, I was able to go back and I would hear things. I would like, that's not right. That needs to be fixed. Where other people couldn't hear it, or they were like, "Oh no, it's fine." They would say things like, "It's fine. No, it's cool. Like nobody will notice." I'm like, "Nah, it ain't right." And just that little bit of that's not necessarily perfectionist because I do understand that no human is perfect. So do not strive for perfection. Strive just to be better. If you can find better, be better. But you don't have to be perfect. Um, but yeah, yeah, yeah. And so that ability to look at my shortcomings because I want to fix it. I want to get better. And they say you can't. What is it? You have to admit that you're wrong. The first step is to admit that you're wrong, and to admit that you
mm,
have a problem.
yeah,
And um, I've never had a fear of at least telling myself that something's wrong. Um, Sometimes it takes longer than others because I will say meditate. Not meditate, but I look inward and I ask questions inward. And the most powerful question that a person can ask themselves is why? Why do I do this? Why do I think that? Why do I feel this way? Why did that trigger this response out of me? Why? And the further back you go, the deeper you dig into yourself because everything that you believe and you see starts with up here. So you ask yourself, why do I feel that way? Feel that way. Case in point, on my wall is Transformers. I'm a huge Transformers fan. I got a Autobot tattoo right here. Like I've been that way since I was a kid. I've got
that's
action
cool.
figures. People are
That's
like
awesome.
you're over 40. Why are you still getting action figures? And the thing was like, why? And then I looked deeper and deeper. I said that was something that I wanted as a kid that I could not have. And it was something that was special to me. It was a moment in time in my life as a kid that I would sit in front of the TV and I would just enjoy Transformers and the
Yeah.
idea of Optimus Prime. And then also with Optimus Prime, he had great values, even though it was, they were teaching you stuff back then. So he had really great values and as a leader and things like that. And I didn't grow up with a dad, and so I'm not saying Optimus Prime is my dad. I'm not saying that. But things like Rocky, the idea of Rocky. Um, um, what else? What else? I love Rocky movies, by the way. So, you know,
That's why I have that quote at the beginning. The
I know. I knew
yeah.
exactly what it was. That was from Balboa. That was from
Yep.
Rocky Six. Balboa.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I knew what that was, and that is like to me the greatest movie quote that is applicable to real life. It is that is, and I am a living example of that quote. That is one of the reasons why I want to work with. I would Stallone would I would be starstruck. He's literally the only star I'd probably be like, oh, you know what I mean, to work with. You know, I get to work with Sylvester. I grew up on that's Rocky. You know, like what are you talking about? That's Judge Dredd. That's Cliffhanger. What are you saying? You know,
All
yeah,
the things, man. I mean, over the top. I
yeah.
mean, the
Over
hat.
the top. Come on, Dad. All
Yeah.
that. You know,
I mean,
it was kind of good there. But
yeah.
so yeah, no, all of it, man. No, I'm a huge Stallone fan. I would love to work with a dude. So Rambo. No, I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say. I'm actually writing something, but it's all right. That's all right. I ain't gonna say that. I'll say that for later. I'm having fun now. I'm sorry.
Since you brought, I was gonna save this for later, but since you brought up Khalees, do you remember the verse or
Oh,
no?
absolutely.
Let's hear it, man.
Okay.
If you want to, you don't have to,
No, no,
man.
no,
If you
no, no, no. I don't mind. I was just like, man, if we had like the instrumental would be great. But yeah, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll bleep out all the bad words because obviously I was 23. I said,
yeah.
all right, here we go. Uh, My milkshake brings other girls to the yard. Damn right, she's better than yours. Mm. So watch what you say, because I could have a chick calling me like every day. But now it's a game, but don't play. When she gets a taste of it, she's trying to stay. But I got too many clients, so I pushed her away. I said, you get the sample free for the rest you pay. She loved the way it digs like my name was Tane. And how I murdered it like I'm Tim McVeigh. She asked, how was it? And I said, okay. She rode me like a horse and I made a neigh. Yeah, you made a what? Shout out, I'm for real. I got the chick number so y'all can chill, but that might not be the best idea because I got a soul open, might as well be clear. Nah, 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 nah. Warm it up. 2003.
Thank you so much, Maurice. That's
2003.
I'm going to clip that up and I'll see if I can find the instrumental to have that playing
Yeah,
on social media or something. Man, that was good. That was very very good. God, that was so good, man. Thanks for that.
I used to be. No, I was good. I never made it as a rapper, but I was really good. I'm not really good anymore. I'm not angry anymore, but I was good. I was really good.
Um, I do kind of have two more serious questions before we get again to
No,
some.
we're good.
And there's a question I'm saving for you at the end that I know you're gonna love. Um, but kind of going back to your time as a Marine and blending in your time as an actor,
Mhm.
you've lived in worlds where identity, legacy, and personal impact carry a lot of weight. As someone who identifies as athosagoraphobic, and I had to look up how to say that word, someone who fears being forgotten or forgetting, how has that shaped the way you approach your roles, your relationships, and the story you hope your life tells?
You really did your homework because I don't talk about that often. I've mentioned it a few times. I don't even know where you found that, but hey, listen, people, if you're listening, do podcasts with this gentleman here because he's obviously doing his work. I'm not even kidding. That's not even me being funny, making jokes. Like people need to do podcasts with you more often. They need to do interviews with you because I don't even talk about that often. But and you're better than me because I still don't know how to pronounce it.
I had to go on YouTube, and my wife's like, this is probably like an hour ago. My wife saw me like doing the sound it out with the clap, like syllables, and even in my notes, I had to break it up,
Yep.
like and do the like this. Here's how you spell it, but here's how you pronounce it or whatever.
Right.
Um,
And
yeah,
so I had to again. This is going back to me looking inward, asking myself why, and it's affected my entire life. But I didn't realize that's what it was affecting and infecting, if you think about it, my entire life. So the fear of being forgotten. Look at what I do now. Look at what I do now. There has to be a correlation to that. The fear of not being remembered. So I had a recent interview I did where I was talking about just being black. Okay, and in the sense that most of us cannot trace our roots back the the to the beginning. Whereas, Asian, Caucasian, even Latin, they can probably, oh, my people come from here for for obvious reasons. We know that ain't. I can only go back but so far, and I found solace in the idea that at the very least, 400 years from now, that's your great, 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 great grandfather right there. You can see him move. You can see him speak. You can see his face, his mannerisms, whether it be film, television, this podcast, anything. I found great. So, in that sense, I, I won't be forgotten. My descendants will literally know where they come from via things like this, via this this medium form. And jumping back a little bit, what I realized too, partially where that comes from for me, is the fact that when I was born, even before I was born, I wasn't wanted. I wasn't. They didn't want. My mom didn't want kids. She was a single mom. My dad was already married, so he was married with no kids, and messed around with my mom, and then she got pregnant and didn't want to have a baby. So she didn't want to have a baby. My grandmother told my mom, go ahead and have this baby, so she had the baby. So, but then even after I was born, uh, my mom didn't take me. She just left me with my grandmother for however many months, and so there was probably something starting from that very moment of not wanting to be forgotten, wanting to be remembered, wanting to be thought of. That was probably instilled in me a long time ago. So yeah, I've always been trying to find a way to make that not happen as best as I can. So I got
No, that's
kids.
actually, that's a great segue. Like growing up with a single mother,
Mhm.
what lessons or experiences shape the kind of single father you have become today? And which parts of that upbringing do you consciously repeat or intentionally do differently?
So my daughter is smarter. So I have two kids. I have a son, 17, and a daughter who is 16. They're 8 months apart. I was a rapper. Okay. All right. Some stereotypes that are kind of true. I'm sorry. But no. And I have full custody of my daughter. So I've been raising my daughter on my own since she was one, and she's
Mm.
16. And so as she grows, my daughter's smarter than I was. I'm obviously wiser. I'm older, but she's smarter than I was. And so I know that I can hold conversations with her and actually have analytical conversations, not necessarily adult conversations, but like I can talk. I don't have to talk to her like she's 16. I can talk to her like a budding adult. I can talk to her like you're not going to be this age for the rest of your life, so let's prepare now. um Whereas, and I try to be a little bit more involved with my daughter than my mom was with me. And I get it. My mom was raising two kids on her own, and she was born in the 50s, and so it was different. It was different, born in the hood, and all those type of things, and so she had a different upbringing. So what I try to bring, for my daughter is I try to be genuinely be an example of the man that I would want her to love. When she got older, I would want her to marry. Now, granted, I'm not perfect. No, again, I stated before, no human being is perfect, but the good should always outweigh the bad.
Mm.
And I always try to keep things fun and but stern, and imparting important lessons to my kids. So yeah, yeah, yeah. I just do my best to try to be a good dad as much as I can, but obviously I'm not perfect.
It's actually a perfect transition to you talk about like giving the lessons and imparting knowledge to your kids now with all the wisdom that you gained, and that's a great point. Like, 'cause I feel like my daughter, she's 14 and she's so smart, but it's a good reminder that, and she knows she's smart, but it's like, hey, you're smart, but you're not wise. I'm wiser because I'm older, right? Just more life experience. But so I want to go back in time. If you could travel back to fifth grade, the day that you had the chance to rap in front of the school, with everything that you know now, what 3-word message would you give to yourself in that moment?
Pause, sir. Where did you get that? Oh my God, yes. When I forgot the lyrics to the rap song and I was so embarrassed that I went backstage and cried. Yes. Good Lord, this guy. Fitzhugh Elementary School, which is also the same elementary school as Julia Roberts. We went to the same elementary school. I haven't said that anywhere, so you got that here. Me and Julia Roberts went to the same elementary school. You're welcome.
Wow.
What you know what? Honestly, I would just tell my little self. I was 10 years old, maybe 9 or 10 years old. I would tell myself. Honestly, I would tell myself two things. I would tell myself it's gonna be okay because that little kid, boy, he was. I was very much, and I'm still in. I'm a gamer, so I was still in the video games. He was still at 10 years old. He was still trying to figure out how to be black, what it meant to be a black kid, and then later what it meant to be a black man. Like what is the criteria? Because we always back then we always had criteria. Oh, you ain't black if you don't do this. Okay, well let me go do that. So I would tell him it would be okay. And then this one, I would tell him, man, throw that girl number away. Throw it. Don't look her. I ain't gonna say who the girl is, but I'm gonna say don't call her. Stay away.
Just slap it out of your hand, like go back.
Like, look, it'd be like, because, I was 10 years old then. So I'd be like, I'll write down a name. I'd be like, remember this name. When you hear this name, go that way. In
Hey,
that direction.
you can remake Quantum Leap starring yourself, and it's just going back to critical moments in your life. If you could put yourself as the main character and just go back to that moment, slap the number out of the
Right,
hand.
right, right. Oh, that would be hilarious. It's like, I finally got the number. Sir. I come traveling back in time like Bill and Ted in a
Yeah.
telephone booth. Wait! Not this one.
Oh, that's
That's
good,
literally
Maurice. That's great.
not
That was
that one.
really good.
No, real
God,
talk. I would pick I'd abuse. It'd be child abuse. I'm like shaking myself. Like, does it count if it's me?
and also you'd be good because that was in the 80s or 90s, right? So I felt like we could do more of that stuff. I mean, when I was in grade school,
Right.
like I'm 44, like I can remember when I was in grade school, like kids were still getting paddled, as long as the parents signed the permission slip. So
Yep. 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 Whose child is this? I got him. Don't
yeah,
do
yeah, the neighborhood, right? I mean, it was like, yeah, the neighborhood could police your kids, and yeah, that's a great point.
That would be
Um,
helpful these days. Just real quick, I know it's off the rails. See that thing about the pregnant mother that got jumped by a group of kids? Did you see that?
no, where was this at?
Chicago elementary school kids. It was elementary or middle school kids. Jumped
What?
mom and her kids. Yeah, it was like 12 of them. They just jumped her. So if the neighborhood could whoop ass and you can bleep me, that probably wouldn't happen.
Man.
Yeah, yeah. Look that up.
Um,
It's crazy. That's crazy.
now, I'm gonna look that up after we're done here. Um, so I have some random miscellaneous questions. There's no rhyme or reason, just some fun questions. And that the cowardly line was actually the first one. Um, but I like to do what I call a name game. So I'm just gonna say two names and just say whatever positive thoughts come to mind when you hear the names.
Does it
Uh,
have to be positive? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
yes, yeah. The first one is DJ Dana.
Okay. DJ Dana, the former in-house producer of Block Entertainment. He worked with Young Jeezy, Young Jock, Duke, Block. He was known, Gorilla Zoe. He was known throughout Atlanta. He put a lot of people on. Jody Breeze, um, DJ Dana. His full name is Dana Rainey. My grandmother, who is now passed away. She didn't get to see me as a soap star. She loves soaps. Her name is I'm sorry, Dolores Rainey. So DJ Dana is my mother's second youngest brother. What he was before he passed away from a heart attack. He was the first person to put me in a booth when I was still trying to sing at 13, 14 years old. I wanted to be an R&B singer. He was the first person to put me in the booth and have me record my voice, showing me how to write songs. He put me in the booth when I wanted to be a rapper, and he put a lot of great people on. Like I said, he's worked. There's so many videos out there with my uncle in there, and that's the way I get to see him now. Like I said, he passed away doing what he loved. Doing
Yeah.
music. He literally was sitting at the keyboard making music, and then they had a heart attack. So I love my uncle. Oh, and just side note, one of my toes is crooked to this day because of DJ Dana. Because I was 19, living with my grandmother, and my uncle kicked my butt because I was talking mess. Because he was in the Navy. So my uncle was in the Navy. This is before I joined the Marines. I was still skinny. I was still little and skinny. So
Yeah.
talking junk, and my uncle beat my tail. Right? He slammed me all over there. so
So
yeah, one of my toes is crooked to this day because of DJ Dana, and I love
so
my
that's something I think you should update on your IMDb profile was has crooked toes.
uncle. Hmm.
And or maybe that's a future name for a rap album or something or a
Oh,
song
crooked
is
toe. Hey,
yeah.
while you're playing, I have a CD full of my uncle's beats. Um, full of his beats, and I can do a crooked toe album. So I love my uncle. I miss
That's
him.
awesome.
Yeah, I miss him. So happy thoughts, sad thoughts, but it's all good. That's my blood uncle. So if anybody sees this that knows about DJ Dana, look him up. DJ Dana Raymond. Yeah, he worked
Yeah,
with
I
he
looked him
worked with
up and it was
Diddy.
just the what?
I say he was also with because they were with Def Jam South, or was it Bad Boy South? So he was under well, he was working for Diddy back when he was still Puff Daddy and all that stuff. So yeah, before the baby oil. And yeah.
So, I got you. So I mean when I looked him when I was researching him, I was like, man, I mean his accolades are
Mhm.
I mean very accomplished and it's just uh we talked earlier we talked about your impact, as a welder in the Middle East and just everything that you did and saved lives for people. um, there's and maybe an invisible impact that is felt and seen by so many in the same breath, I guess, with music when you think about what he did, during his time.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just very impressive. I have one more name, and I think this is going to make you laugh and bring up some fun stories, but Dexter Emery.
That is so funny. So, shouts out to Dexter Emery. Dexter Emery is probably the reason why you and I, are, a big reason why you and I are sitting here right now. Through the spider webs of life. In 20, so I was a contractor for roughly about 5 years. I was a civilian contractor. I lived in Kuwait for about 5 plus, maybe 6 years. Me and my daughter. And when I came home in 2017, um, a friend of mine was like, "Hey, we're doing a cabin trip with just the people who we know from Kuwait." I'm sorry. So that cabin trip was actually February of 2018. They were like, "It's going to be couples and singles there. We're doing a cabin trip," and so I was like, "Cool, I'll go." And so I went to the cabin trip, and this is where I met Dexter. Uh, and he was talking about how he was in the Born Supremacy, and he was showing me stills from him being in the Born Supremacy. He said, but the scene got cut." And in that very moment, my exact words were, "Oh, so you act? How do I get into that?" Literally the question. So Dexter, he was the right person at the right time, saying the right thing that got me into acting, that has me where I am now. And he texts me all the time because he doesn't act anymore. He's strictly into his contractor logistics. That's what he does now. He does logistics. I think in South Carolina. And he says, "Man, that is so crazy that we had a conversation. And look where you are." He said, "Look where I'm at now. I'm back, working a regular job, and you over here a series regular on a TV show." I said,
Yeah.
"I like workout, honey." So, shouts out to Dexter Emery. He put me in place to do my very first whatever on screen, my very first movie. It never came out, but basically the guy had a little camcorder on his shoulder or whatever, and he was like, "All right, I want you to say this." I had no acting experience, no training. I still had my braids. Did I have dreads? No, no. I had cut my dreads out, so I just had braids at the time. And yeah. So Dexter, shouts out to Dexter for the reason why we're even having this conversation right now is because Dexter said the right thing at the right time to the right person.
Awesome. He's podcast famous, and I'll make sure to tag him in the show notes too.
That day.
All right, here's the one question I've been saving for you, and I've been most excited to ask you. Is I know you're a big fan of the Rocky movies. If you could have one piece of memorabilia from any of the Rocky movies, and we'll include the Creed series
Okay.
as part of that. We'll the universe, right? So
Right.
we'll say
Right.
if you could have any memorabilia from the Rocky universe, what would that be?
Man. So, oh God, can I pick two?
Yeah, I'll give you two.
All right, cool. Give me two. So, at first, I think at first glance, most people would say the gloves, but I was like, nah. I was thinking either the statue, but then I was like, no, maybe the shorts. The statue is just
Oh,
that would just be too much going on. I think the shorts for one, and then two, that Firebird. After he fought Apollo in Rocky 2 when he had that Firebird, but he had to sell it because
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That Firebird, that that Joker was clean. See, people nobody would think that, but I'm from Atlanta. We like old school cars down here. So yeah, definitely the shorts. I would have them up on my wall, and the Firebird.
Oh, that's
Both
awesome.
of them from Rocky 2.
Okay, yeah. Good call, man. That's I was very excited to ask you that. And I
Oh
was like,
yeah,
oh
yeah. No,
man,
no.
because there's so many great things, right? So
And that Firebird would not be museumed. I would be driving that Joker everywhere. That Pontiac, I'd be driving everywhere. You know who sat in this car?
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Hmm.
Uh, Last couple questions as we're wrapping up. If there was a giant billboard with your picture on it for the world to see, what would you want your billboard to say, and where would you want your billboard to be?
So funny because I have two billboards up right now.
I was gonna say this is very realistic, right? I mean, I've
Right. I literally have two up right now for Friend Zone and Urban Flesh Eaters. Two movies just came out right now, and I have billboards over Atlanta. It's funny you should say that. But if I had to have one that was just about me, it wasn't about a movie. Are you asking about the picture as well, or just the picture would be
I
me?
mean,
Just
yeah, like the billboard, like just yeah, a picture of you on it for the world to see. Yeah, what would you want your message to say, and what would you want? Where would you want it to be?
so I would definitely want it to be in Times Square because I had a billboard in Times Square which was amazing for my birthday. That's crazy, um, and it would it would be positive, motivational, and just a reminder. The wording would be, "If I can, you can.
Mm,
If I can, you can. If I can go to war and come back alive, you can. If I can get through divorce and make it, you can. If I can raise a child on my own, you can. If I can live out my friend's car for a year, sleeping place to place for a year, you can. If I can look inwards in the mirror and see my own demons and my own problems and my own issues, you can. I am no more human than any other human on the planet. If I can, you can.
Love it. Bonus question. What if Randy Parker had a billboard message for the world to see? What would his leadership message be? And we'll just assume it's in Atlanta.
Got you. Okay. Um, with Randy, eye candy, Randy, eye candy. Yeah, eye candy. Come on, the man in black. What would Randy want everybody to know? Oh, I know what it would say. Hashtag loyal to a fault.
Mm,
Or no. Just loyalty. Hashtag loyalty. That's it. In all black letters. Boom. And then all Randy Parker in all black, beard all done up, the cut, looking directly into the camera saying, loyalty. Just like that.
that's
Beyond the gates. Yeah.
look. That's good.
Randy
That's
Parker.
good.
Randy Parker. Randolphus. It might even have his Randolphus Parker.
That's good. Yeah, Randolphus, man, it's so official, so sophisticated. Um, so I started a tradition. So I just released episode 100 a few weeks ago,
I thought I saw
and
101.
so I did post that with like, yeah. So I did 100 episode 100 released on November 6th. 101 released last week on the 13th.
Okay.
Yeah, because today's Friday. Yeah, yeah. And then so I typically release on Thursdays, and then I
Oh,
actually
okay.
released,
I was like, I saw
yeah,
101.
yeah, and then I just released actually released two episodes yesterday. Just kind of I'm trying out some different things.
Track.
Um, but what I've started since episode 100 is I want to start a tradition with a podcast to where I pass the torch between each episode and guest. So what I'm asking now from each guest is what's a quote or a question I could ask or use in a future episode with a guest. If you could ask a question or leave or give a quote for a future guest.
Um, when when you leave this world, how do you want to leave this world? And I'm asking it specifically that way because the second part of that, how do you want to leave this world, is ambiguous. It can mean two things. It can mean how do you want to leave the world? Like, do you want to leave it in a better play, in a better way, or worse? But also, how do you want to leave this world? As in, um, how do you want to be remembered? So, the way someone answers is also telling. It tells you the type of person they are, whether they be about others with empathy or are they about themselves, which is not good or bad either way, because we have a natural imperative to protect ourselves. So that's it's not good or bad either way. But when you leave this world, how do you want to leave this world?
That is so good, man. Um, hey, if people want to learn more about you or know or support you in any way, what's the best way for them to accomplish that goal?
My Venmo is
Crooked Toes 101.
Crooked Toes 101. Let's go. My Venmo. Um, no, you can find me on all social media. You see my name up here is Maurice P. Kerry. And I have the at Maurice P. Carries just in case people are, so MauricePkerry on all social media. And if you DM me, eventually I get around to it. I'm not one of those people you'll see on TV and they don't respond. Because the thing is, I was a human being way before acting. I was a firefighter. I was an EMT, Marine. I was homeless. I was regular. I used to sell glasses for lens crafters. I was the guy back there making the glasses. That was literally one of my favorite jobs. I sold phones. I sold clothes. I used to drive for Uber and Lyft. I'm regular. Let's just have a conversation.
Love it. Um, what can I do for you? How can I best serve you?
Just pass the message along, man. Be a good person. Uh, Remember the golden rule. I think the world would be so much better if we began everything with the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The question being, would I like that if someone did that to me or said that to me? Then maybe it'd be best that I did not. So just, you know, be a good person. Begin with empathy.
Maurice, thank you so much. This was incredible. I was there anything else that we you didn't want to get a chance to talk about, or anything you want to put out there, or anything you want to plug?
No, hey, look, if anybody knows Sylvester, tell him I'd love to work with him. I'd want to do that. I'm also, I have, if you want to check out Urban Flesh Eaters, that is, it's on Amazon right now. Also, Friend Zone, a romantic comedy that is on All Black Network. You can always find me on CBS's Beyond the Gates weekdays, Eastern Standard Time at 2 p.m. Randy Parker in the building, CBS Paramount. I'm also working on a film loosely based on my life, action film called The Day Labor. Still looking for. It's always about funding and somebody willing to sit down and have a conversation with me about it. Let's make it happen. So, yeah. That.
Well, again, Maurice, thank you so much. This was an honor. I was uh, so touched that just by our conversation in Atlanta a few months ago. I was so excited about having this conversation. You did not disappoint, and I think you're only further enhancing your legacy. So, I have nothing but respect and admiration for you, my friend.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, when I met you, because you and I we had connected on Instagram before, and
Mhm.
I saw what you were doing, and I thought it was dope. And yeah, I believed in you. I told you that when I was standing there. I
You
said,
sure
yeah,
did.
I said I saw what you were doing. Yep, I said I saw what you're doing. I believe in what you're doing. And there are people out there who deserve more, who aren't getting more, and then there's people who deserve less, who are getting more. So let's try to get you into that other bracket. You know what I mean? So yeah, no man, you're doing great. Keep it up. And you, like I said, listen, guys, if you have an opportunity to interview with this young man, trust me, because deep cuts, guys, deep cuts from when I was 10 years old or 9. What are you saying? Like, come on, man, come on. The cowardly lion, I was 17, maybe even 16. What are you doing, dude? That's so cool, man. It's so cool. And he made
I
me
pre-
rap. Are you kidding me? Interview with this guy, guys. Don't be weird. Do it.
thank you so much. And I'm awesome, man.